being grafted into Yasharal is deeply rooted in the scriptures beyond just Shaul's, Paul's letters. It highlights the idea that Yahuwah's covenant with Yasharal is open to all who turn back to him and follow his Torah, not just the native Yasharali, Israelite. This theme is evident throughout both the first covenant, Old Testament, and the renewed covenant, New Testament. 1. The promise to Abraham in Bereshit, Genesis 12. 3. Yahuwah tells Abraham that through his seed, all the nations of the earth will be Baruch, blessed. This indicates that the favor of Yahuwah was not intended exclusively just for the native of Yasharal, but for all who would come into covenant with him. This barakah, blessing, foreshadows the future inclusion of those from other nations. 2. Ruth as a Gentile. Grafted in, the story of Ruth is an excellent example. Ruth was a Moabite who chose to align herself with Yasharal and their Alua, Yahuwah. In Ruth 1:16, she says, "Your people shall be my people, and your Alua my Alua." Because of her Amunah and loyalty, Ruth became part of Yasharal. 3. Yashayahu, Isaiah 56:6-7. Here, Yahuwah speaks of foreigners who join themselves to Yahuwah to serve him and to love the name of Yahuwah to be his servants. He promises that these individuals will be brought to his Kadash mountain and their offerings will be accepted. This passage emphasizes that those from the nations who align themselves with Yahuwah are welcome into his covenant people. 4. Mashiach as a light to the nations. Yashayahu 42:6-49. 6 both speak of Yasharal's role in being a light to the nations. The Mashiach, Messiah, as the ultimate representative of Yasharal, extends Yahuwah's deliverance to the nations, showing that the mission of Yasharal was to draw others into Yahuwah's covenant. 5. Renewed covenant, New Testament. While Shaul Paul discusses grafting in Romans 11, Yahusha himself spoke of the inclusion of others into Yasharal. Yahuhanan, John 10:16. Yahusha says, "And other sheep I have which are not of this fold, them also I must bring, and they shall hear my voice, and there shall be one flock and one shepherd." This is understood as Yahusha referring to non-Yasharalim being brought into the fold of Yasharal under his leadership. 6. Ephesians 2:11-13 ties back to this larger scriptural theme. Here, Shaul explains that Gentiles who were once far off are now brought near by the blood of Yahusha. He emphasizes that they are no longer strangers and foreigners, but fellow citizens with a Kadashim and members of the household of Yahuwah. This shows that by accepting the covenant through Yahusha, Gentiles become part of Yasharal. The idea of being grafted into Yasharal isn't just a New Testament or Pauline concept, but flows throughout the scriptures. From the promises to Abraham, to the inclusion of Ruth, to Yashayahu's prophecies of Yasharal being a light to the nations, Yahuwah's plan was always to invite people from every nation to be part of his covenant through Amunah and obedience to his Torah. Yahusha's role as Mashiach further fulfilled this by making the covenant accessible to all who turn back to Yahuwah and follow his ways.